it's Kelly here with Garden Discovery, and I wanted to do this Garden Discovery, but I figured that's pretty cheesy, and I can't promise though in the future I won't be cheesy and do cheesy stuff. That's kind of how I am. Anyway, welcome to the channel. It's probably the worst time to be starting a YouTube channel and learning how to video. It's just kind of rough right now because everything's in bloom, and as you can see behind me, everything needs to be deadheaded. So really busy time. Weeds are coming up. We actually got a day of rain last week, so with the rain comes the weeds. So hoping to get on a regular track, and want to say thank you to my son Tommy, who's going to help me put together, edit the videos for this. So anyway, welcome to the vlog. Some of the things that I've learned in the first few years of gardening is that you're going to find plants that just work for you, that are easy for you, for your growing conditions. Let's face it, I'm in zone 9B in California here. It's a lot different than, say, my friends who garden in Ireland, or my mom who's in Montana. They have winters. We don't have here. They laugh at me when I say I'm cold in the winter because they say it's not cold there, but to me it is. Some of the things that I have growing right now are salvias. I rely a lot on salvias. The hummingbirds love them, and they're just really hardy. Again, we have a gopher problem, and you'll hear about gophers a lot from me because it is a big problem here. And the local residents, as gardeners, that's what we talk about. Oh my gosh, it got my whatever. It ate the roots off of my whatever, but those darn gophers. I'll show you a sign later. I did make a sign that says gophers need not apply. And that's basically the motto of the garden. So I have salvias, different varieties, different colors. The butterflies are through the garden all the time, and bees. Hummingbirds love the salvias, and they're in and out almost all day. And they're really a lot of fun to watch, so that's neat. I spend a lot of time out in the garden working. This is my full-time job, and then I have another job that pays for this job. I have California golden poppies, and I also have other varieties of poppies. This is the first year that I tried other varieties of poppies, and they're coming up, popping all over the place, and it's really neat to see really big petals, and they're really lovely. I also have sweet peas growing right now. This is the best year yet for sweet peas. I don't know, probably because we got so much rain. I started them indoors, just in paper towels, wet the paper towels, let them germinate, and then they became little spermies, is what I call them, is what they look like to me. And then just plop them in the ground, and yeah, they came up, and I've got different sections. I've got some that are growing in my raised beds mixed with the other plants. It's kind of a jungle back there, but I kind of like that jungle look. I'm not at all an organized kind of person. My family will attest to that. And I do like a little chaos in the garden and whimsy. I have violas that reseed and pop up every year around the garden, which I love. And that's what's great about violas, is that they do reseed. And I don't mind that because they offer color in times of the year where there's not a lot of color in the garden. So that's great. They're kind of on their way out right now. It's starting to warm up here, and they don't like the real hot. They seem to not like the real hot here. I would encourage anybody who ever said they have a brown thumb to just try it. If you need some kind of therapy to help be outdoors, to do something, gardening is a great thing to get involved in. I do everything here myself with the garden, planting, landscaping. I did all of the landscape, even the steps that lead up to the chairs area up there with the bird bath. Everything, the rocks, the mulch, the planting, the seeds, everything I've done myself. My mom has helped me do the rock garden and a few other things here. Thanks, Mom. And so that was really nice. But yeah, I do it all myself, and it's a lot of work. It really is. And for you who have gardens and do it all yourself and are on a budget, you know what I mean. Even if you're not on a budget, but if you don't have help and you're doing it yourself, you know what I mean. Gardens are definitely a labor of love. The section of the garden where I started my garden. I did, again, all of it myself. So that is the first section there that I started. And then I moved on and started this section. Now I have a neighbor who gave me some starts for succulents here. This second section that I started is kind of overgrown with poppies right now. I'm getting ready to pull some of those. But I kind of like the way these aloes, I think they are shooting up their flowers through them. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn on that. My mom helped me start the rock garden here. This is a plant that I call Big Mama. And when we planted her, she was just not even a gallon, I don't think, in a gallon container. Anyway, so she is horrendous. Big Mama has to be cut back quite a lot. She got done flowering, but she does have really pretty flowers on her. So I don't want to get rid of her. And I've been able to start other Big Mamas, Little Mamas, off of her. So of course I want to keep her. I do have some Mexican feathergrass in it, which again is one of the things I'm torn about. I love, see how it does in the breeze. I love that. I love the movement. However, it reseeds like crazy. It's nuts. So you're constantly having to pull plugs out, which isn't a lot of fun. So I'm thinking about changing it to something else, but I haven't made up my mind yet. And this is my sister Shelly's little garden that she started when she was living with me a little over a year ago. She said she started it for my granddaughter, but I think she just wanted a little fun project. So again, the poppies are kind of covering everything right now, which is a good and bad thing. So the thing I did was to make a little flat section up there. I have two old chairs that, thank you, Aunt Joanne, that gave me these old chairs, and I just put plants, whatever is thriving and looking great, they get the seat, the thrones. So, and then I have a bird bath in between, acting like a table. So I put that section there, and then made this little rock pathway down, and then there's stones that follow all the way up to the house. So that was the next section, and kind of worked on doing this section here after that. This is on the side of the pathway, and this is the raised beds that I added here. I lined the bottom with hardware cloth and stapled it to the inside of the boards so that the gophers can't get through. If they do get through, they earned it, and they're probably going to be bleeding to death because that stuff is sharp when you cut it. So I've got 4 raised beds there. And so if the gophers get to everything, hopefully I'll still have something left. So we'll see. And I have this still shed. This is where I do a lot of work here. I collect seeds off of my plants, and so I'll sit there and put the seeds in the buckets to let them dry so I can use again in the future. The next section that I did, this is a spiral, and because the plants are so big right now, you can't really see the spiral well, but I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll take you through and walk through the pebble pathway. The pathway starts here, and here's my little sign, "Gophers need not apply," that I made. And so it goes behind my raised beds, and you just follow it up. It's kind of a forest right now. See? Of course, in the winter when the plants aren't so high and we don't have plants in here too many anyway, you can see the spiral design. I just did this year. Um, I put down the gravel down around the exterior and planted some things up, and don't mind the weeds. This is the cactus patch that's been here for probably 40 or 50 years. And so I cleaned that out really good and just been planting from cuttings around it. So the succulent that's growing in there, and you see all along this back section and in other places in the garden, are off of one cutting that I got actually off of my daughter. This is my newest raised bed that I put together, and it's got some dahlias growing in there if they don't get eaten by critters. That's what the baskets are there for. I'm going to have to start covering them. These are the sweet peas, some of the sweet peas. I've got them in several areas of the garden, and I just deadheaded them last night. But yeah, they're doing great this year, and I've got even these little tiny ones. I don't know if you could see the little tiny blue ones. That is the garden. Thanks everybody for coming today. I really appreciate it.